Dr. Marcus Eruaga, who is the past Secretary General, Association of General Medical Practitioners in Nigeria. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.
Well, there's this proposal being discussed now. We understand that the Minister of Education may eventually prepare a memo for the council, Executive Council, to ban public officials from embarking on foreign medical trips with public funds. I know that it must have been mooted previously in public circles, but now that it's taking this official dimension, is it the way to go for you?
Yes, I think it is the way to go, except that first things have to be first. We are still very, very deficient in so many areas in the medical sector in this country today. And when such decisions are to be taken, they should be taken stepwisely, not just at a single go. For instance, you have to be sure that certain things are in place before you make an overall ban. Yes, we do know that we have a lot of health problems in this country. Infrastructurally.
Yeah, maybe that's why he says there's an exception.
Yeah.
And the only exception to him is where the capacity to handle such medical problem is non-existent in the country, and so they may go. But even when they do go, it won't be with public funds.
Yes, I agree with that 100%. The truth is, a lot of things have gone wrong in this country. In the past, there are set down criteria and regulations for anybody who needs to go abroad for medical treatment. There are things that have to be done. There are doctors at various levels who must testify to the fact that, yes, this treatment is necessary. But actually, going abroad, or what you call medical tourism, have become such a business this day that it has been so bastardized. Norms are no longer followed. In fact, the foreign countries have taken Nigeria now as a pariah country where they just come in. In fact, they don't come in officially again to go to the medical channel. They have so many other channels now through which they canvas sending Nigerians abroad.
You know, Doctor, allow me to comment here. When you talked about, I like the term, medical tourism, and secondly, you talked about being business. What kind of business are we likely to look at here? Because there must be some kind of collaboration between some medical professional here and another medical professional outside the country. Is it necessary that almost some ailments, or are we in dearth of professionals to handle some cases? Because when we talk about brain drain once, which we experience in the medical profession, but we thought that had been filled, and we have some good professionals here in the country that can handle some of these ailments. So probably maybe you tell us the state of our medical facilities as well as the professionals we do have to handle some of this here.
Yes, the state of the medical facilities is not much to write home about. The infrastructure is simply not there.
Is it that bad?
It is really bad. It is really bad. Because even the areas we call the centers of excellence, if you come to find out the equipment they have, especially at the government level, they are still very, very deficient. But we do have some private health facilities in this country now that meet standard anywhere in the world. Again, it has to do with publicity. The government actually ought to educate the people as to where these facilities are available and how to approach it or assess them.
The private ones or the public ones?
The private one in particular.
Okay, well, that's maybe, all right, we'll get that point though. But he also pointed out the fact that when you say it's medical tourism and business, he says it's gone bad to the extent that a medical practitioner comes, recommends, or maybe someone approaches him, a public official, quote unquote, approach a doctor and then he refers you to, or if you tell him you've got a heart complaint, or you complain about your maybe your heart or any complaint whatsoever, he says when they recommend you abroad, 10 to 15% of the monies that the public official pays to the doctor abroad comes back to you who recommend them. And this is what he says he frowns at. And that's what's going on, he says.
That is not totally correct. Because what is actually going on these days is there are big facilities abroad now that really try to get in touch with various organizations, not even doctors now alone. In the past, actually used to be doctors referring. But now you find that these bodies now go to various NGOs, other organizations who are not even medical. It is enough sometimes for people to have relations abroad and they say, oh, come just for a visit, and before you know it is going for head something. In the case of public funds, that I agree with 100%, that you cannot spend public funds at the rate at which we are going now. There must be a regulatory body, and there must be set down criteria that before you can actually go abroad, you must be satisfied by a particular panel. This is what it used to be before.
Okay. But the thing is, he's a medical doctor and now Minister of Health. So for him to have made this case known in print, it means he's got one or two facts or something that has happened. That's what it means.
Yes. For instance, we had an incident in December, and the federal government on its own sent Nigerians to South Africa. Would you also tell me that it was on a similar arrangement?
Well, even if that is not on the same arrangement,
yes.
For the fact that he's pointed this out, an enemy, and your body, which you were the past Secretary General, hasn't any of this kind of complaint popped up in the associations? Or did they gloss over it when it did?
No, officially we have not gotten any complaint. We have not at all.
But unofficially, are you aware that there are such practices?
Not to my knowledge. What I mean by not to my knowledge is that, like I say, the whole business has become what you can now refer to as medical tourism. Really, that is the best way to describe it. Because people no longer follow set down rules. And it is no longer you having to get in touch with a medical body or like the NME, like the AGPNPN, or you just get text now from foreign hospitals or foreign bodies once you are a doctor telling you we offer this service.
Really?
And that they are ready to collaborate with you if you can come to them.
To collaborate with you?
Yes, that is, if you have a patient you want to send to them, they will work with you to get the patient to wherever you want to get them.
Now that's close to what he says here. So if they're to collaborate with you, work with you to get the patients over there, are you going to recommend them free of charge and they take all the money? It won't make sense. What's the benefit of the collaboration?
Well, you see, collaboration in this sense actually is supposed to mean that if I have a patient I'm managing, and if it gets to a point where I found that yes, it requires some further treatment, ideally we should get to the tertiary institution here in Nigeria. But again, you find that because of the system we have, because of the decay in the health system, even the patients tells you, doctor, is there no alternative? Is there any other thing to do apart from sending me to the teaching hospital here in Nigeria?
What about the competence level of the professionals?
They are very competent. That's what it's just infrastructural problem that we have.
But how do we check quacks amongst us? I mean, there are a host of hospitals that look very good on the outside, and then you enter the hospital, there are people just trying to make money off you. How do, associations check quacks amongst them?
We have regulatory bodies. The state has its own regulatory body. Like in Lagos State, we have the HEFAMA, which used to be the Private Hospital Regulatory Authority. It also regulates even the government hospitals. These bodies are charged with regulating the standard and every practice of medicine in the country. But again, sometimes the work is enormous for them, especially in Lagos State. But the bottom line is that the country, the system is so inefficient in the country that people just open facilities and start practices without even getting the basic things right. So it's a very large problem which the government really has to face.
You know, you said that certain things will have to be put in place if this thing were to work, and you also told us earlier that this used to be the practice where before you go abroad, if you're a government official, you go through a panel before you're certified, you know, to fit for trip abroad. What exactly happened? Why did this panel stop sitting, or what exactly happened that the process became turned upside down?
I won't say the panel stopped sitting. Like everything in Nigeria, sustenance is always a problem. There are a lot of regulations in place but are not implemented. If you still go through the rules and regulations and the laws of the country today, these things are still there. But of course, so many people don't follow the rule and the laws.
Okay, just a quick one here before we get off. I mean, when you say there's collaboration between medical facilities or institutions here and those abroad, when you refer patients there, do they do the same here?
Yes, ideally, all over the world.
They do refer patients back to Nigeria when you refer them?
That is where the problem is again. You know, normally, if you refer a patient abroad, a feedback is supposed to come to you from that hospital abroad about your patient, because it's your patient. You're actually the person managing.